Hello, this is the Autistic Lutheran Carnivore, and in this video I want to explain why carnivore, my journey to the carnivore diet. My journey begins in 2014. At the time, I just learned about Don Gorski, the Guinness Book of World Records holder for eating the most Big Macs. He has eaten a Big Mac for years and years and years. He's not obese and he has no heart problems. So that made me curious as to the claims of saturated fat and cholesterol being bad for you. I saw this opinion piece by Stephen Dubner and Stephen Levitt, authors of the book and movie Freakonomics. They wrote in the article that the McDouble is the cheapest, healthiest food. And they argued this mostly on the fact that it contained the most animal protein for the cheapest price. That led to a Google search that I thought at the time was completely ridiculous. I Googled cholesterol is healthy, and I didn't expect to find anything with that Google search, but it led me to FatHead. And the person who shot the movie, Tom Naughton, is a journalism graduate, and he will give you some homework if you want it. So that led me to certain books like Wrong by David H. Friedman, who writes for The Atlantic. And it also led me to Nina Teichel's book, The Big Fat Surprise. And I started to understand that the cholesterol is bad message and the saturated fat is bad message came from a bunch of statistical observational studies, and everybody was propping up the idea without any clinical research. And this idea was pushed through Congress without any clinical research, and it became the basis of our dietary guidelines. One of the books FatHead led me to was also Know Your Fats by Dr. Mary Enig. She was a PhD in biochemistry from the University of Maryland. Mary Enig also authored the slide presentation Oiling of America that Sally Fallon delivers in a YouTube video. And it showed how the seed oil industry manipulated universities, schools of nutrition, and other sciences and trade organizations to give the low-fat, low-cholesterol message a whole lot of credibility. Fast forward to maybe 2017, 2018, I was addicted to diet soda, and I was very adamant that it had no health effects negatively. And I believe this because even if you look at the ingredients and you cannot pronounce an ingredient, that doesn't mean that it is harmful. After all, dihydrogen monoxide may be something that is a foreign word to somebody, a foreign term, but it doesn't mean that it's harmful. That sort of thinking is, I guess, the thinking that many food companies and many soda companies want you to go down, is that you should investigate every ingredient because you don't know what you don't know. And if you know more about biochemistry, you would say that these ingredients are not so bad. However, food companies and soda companies may want you to think this way because they want to hide harmful ingredients in lawyer speak of coming up with complicated chemical names. That got me thinking that if that's the way it works, then how is anybody supposed to know what to drink? So if you assume that every ingredient in diet soda is bad, then that eliminates any possibility that you're consuming any harmful chemicals in that diet soda. Whether it was 2017 or 2018, around the same time that I was considering quitting diet soda, I heard this woman at a KetoCon conference on YouTube talking about a carnivore diet, just eating meat. Well, it didn't sound that crazy to me because I was already trying to get carbs about 20 grams a day. And when you try to very drastically reduce carbohydrates in your diet, that necessarily does mean that you are limiting the number of plants in your diet. You can eat a whole lot of meat in your diet, and it's not going to affect the carbohydrate content of your diet. But if you increase the plants, it will. So I was trying to limit the carbs as much as I could. I then started to follow this carnivore doctor, Dr. Sean Baker, this huge Air Force veteran, and I think they once held the the record for the most deadlift, most weight in deadlift. I I believe that was like in 2018 they did that at the time. I and he came out with a book about the Carnivore Diet, and I read it, and I said something that Nina Teichol's I also wrote about, in that there were many cultures that were exclusively carnivore, and I and also that some cultures that ate plants also had some sicknesses. In 2023, I found Dr. Anthony Chaffee on YouTube, and he gave this very long talk on the toxicity of plants that mostly comes from the study of botany. And he also shared that he was treating Aborigines in Australia, and when Aborigines were on their native carnivore diet, they barely had any disease. But once they were introduced to the plant foods, because of the westernization of Australia, they started to develop all sorts of diseases. Also, in 2024, this year, I found this Harvard video, I believe, was made by a professor of botany, that I wanted people to see plants how he saw plants, in that they have barely any defenses other than chemical. And I said that the only way to avoid plant toxins is, well, not to eat plants.